Reese, welcome to the podcast. We'll let you introduce yourself and share a little bit about you.
Okay, I'm Reese McKinney. I have three older sisters, and I do track and volleyball. And my freshman year of track, I made it to state in the 4x4, and we placed fifth. And then this past year at track, I made it to state in the 4x4, the 4x1, and the 100 hurdles. And I placed eighth in the 100 hurdles, sixth in the 4x1, and fifth in the 4x4. So
Awesome. And Reese, what high school are you at?
I'm at Bishop Chatard.
That's a big deal. You've accomplished a lot in a small amount of time. How did
Yeah,
you
thank
become
you.
interested in track? Did you do it from a young age? You mentioned volleyball as well, but with track, when did it start for you?
When I was younger, I'd say I started becoming interested in track. We would go to the track on like Sundays when I was little, and my older sisters also ran for a little bit too. So I kind of just started looking up to them, and it kind of just really that's how I kind of got into it just by watching my older sisters run. But yeah,
Okay. Now you mentioned what you did your freshman year, and then this year. What year are you?
I'm gonna be a junior.
Okay. Oh, so we have to contend with you for 2 more years.
Yeah.
Oh, you've made quite the leap that in that short period of time. And for us, I mean, the reason you caught our initial attention is because of the hurdles. We compete against your team in county and sectionals and regionals, and we've seen you run before. So
Yeah.
we were curious as to what was going on there.
Mhm.
Okay. What is it that you like best about? Well, you play two sports. Do you
Mhm.
have a favorite between the two?
I like both, but I'd say track is more so my main focus because I've taken most of that. But both I really enjoy. So, yeah.
Okay. Now in track, how do you define success? I know with volleyball team, it's the team and the wins, but how do you define it for you in track?
Well, track's like I know it's an individual sport, but I would also say it's the same as any other sport in the team aspect. I think like success, obviously winning is fun, but also like when you don't achieve the goals that you want to, I think it's good to like create new goals and also like see where you can progress and what you can work on. And I think success is like getting better from your previous meet or your previous time. And I think that's what success is in the sport.
So, so can you expand on how do you said it's not just about it's also even in losing, you can reset your goals. So how have you personally handled setbacks, if at all, that you've experienced as an athlete and share that with everyone watching?
I think setbacks like aren't a way to like get down on yourself. They're a way to like I don't know, I think you can move forward from them and it's actually a positive to look at them because it just shows that there's more in you and more that you have to give and I think that's really important. And negative thoughts can't really like yes, they'll come into factor, but you can't let them like overtake your mindset or else your performance won't get better and so you just have to learn how to like fight the struggle and once you do, it's like you see a big progression from that. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of like the getting yourself together, like how do you mentally like keep yourself together or prepare for big meets and stuff like that?
I trust in my training and like what my coaches have prepared me to do because I'm really lucky with the coaches I've been given and they always want me to succeed and help me to do my best and they push me towards my goals and I think it's really nice knowing that they put me in the place that I'm supposed to be. And also I like to pray before my races and I also just get in a mindset that God will have me through my race and he'll help me and like I am here for a reason and he put me here. So yeah.
Do you have a specific routine that you follow when you prepare for competitions?
Um, I usually like to start. I usually just sit in the tent with my team and we talk for a while. But then like it gets this moment where we all get in a headspace where we kind of the tent's not really talking anymore and we all have our headphones or we do whatever it is that we like. And I usually put my headphones in and I'll listen to music. And then when it's time to warm up, I get really focused and I'll like I'll talk still to my teammates and we'll all know that we're there for each other, but we like to focus and dial in on our own race and like what we're going to do. And it is really nice to like have a team that's so supportive of each other. But I just like to focus on what I'm going to do and I just get in that zone. So it's nice.
That sounds so neat.
Yeah, well, you've only had two track seasons under your belt. Thus far, what's been your favorite memory?
Um, my favorite memory was probably this past year at state because our 4x1 we podiumed and we got the school record, and so that was really exciting because we lost two of our seniors, and that had been our goal since the beginning of the season to get the school record and to place at state because we had not placed in a while and we really wanted to. So getting sixth place and seeing that time come up on the board was really exciting for us and our team, and it was a really good memory to have.
Yeah, and you're coming from a school that's not really that big. How big? How many kids are in the school?
It's around like 800.
Yeah, I'd say that's an accomplishment when you're going up
Oh,
against schools that are 5,000.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely a big accomplishment.
Yeah, so that's cool. With that, I mean, I'm assuming you don't have a giant track team. Like we know of teams that have 100 plus athletes. I'm assuming you all don't. And in that, how do you like? It's a long season. You're obviously competing a lot. How do you mentally stay in the game, so to speak, um, throughout all these different practices and all that, and staying focused?
Well, even though we have a small team, I would say actually it's kind of beneficial towards us because we're all really close and we all like help each other get through the tough practices. And we all make sure that everyone's okay and everyone's in the right headspace to do what they're going to do. And we all trust in each other. And like, that's a big part of our team is having trust because if you don't, then it kind of falls apart. So we all just know that we kind of before a meet, we'll set goals for if, especially we're on a relay, we'll set goals for what we each want to do and then what we want to do as a team. And so that's nice to know. And we all want to help each other achieve those goals together. So we always hope for the best, but if that doesn't happen, we're still there for each other.
I think that's great. The team camaraderie helps you all. It's like you all have a understanding that, and that makes it even better, that team dynamic. How do you handle pressure from competitions?
Um, I think you can't really let pressure like define you as a person because honestly, like, well, one of my favorite runners, Cindy McLaughlin, she said that pressure is like an illusion and it is what you make it. So like if you let it if you let it like take over you, then that's kind of I don't know, that's just gonna make your performance not like your best and that does happen sometimes, like pressure can get to your head, but when you let it like just when you accept that pressure is going to be there but you like overcome it, I think that's when you perform your best. And yeah.
How do you mentally overcome like the pressure? Like what's your go-to in terms of getting yourself together, getting yourself focused? I know you have your routine, but is there anything that you see as like this is the best you like some people use visualization practices and stuff like that. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, I like to visualize my race and I kind of like look at it as like what I'm going to do and what I came here to do and I fall back on my training and I kind of picture like what I had done previously and then where I can improve. So, especially in the hurdles, I like to picture like what I'm going to do over each hurdle and then I'm going to like snap down and get over really fast and if someone's in front of me, try and catch them and I think like imagery before a race is really helpful because it shows you like what you want to achieve. And I think that's really important.
Right. Were you always into visualization, or was that something that either your coaches or someone suggested to you to do?
Yeah. So Visualization for me kind of didn't really start till this year because my hurdles coach was kind of the one who like instilled that in me, and she told me that that helped her throughout her track career. And she was like, some people can't get into that headspace, but if you can, she's like, try it. She's like, it really helps, and it will, like, honestly, it helped me to like see what I wanted to do for this race. And I think that it really, well, it really helped her, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And then I tried it, and I thought it was really beneficial, and it like helped me like get the outcome I wanted. So yeah.
Why don't you shout out your coach? Because just in case the viewers don't know what your coach's name is, your hurdle coach's name.
So her name is Becca Cohen. Well, she has a new last name now because she's married, but she tells us to call her Becca Cohen. So yeah.
That's awesome. And with all that focus and your visualization, being able to navigate, how do you celebrate when you've achieved your goals?
Well, I'm proud of where I am, but I also look forward like to where I can go. So I try and set new goals off of the old goal like I had just created, because I like to like I'm obviously really happy for myself, but I also see it as a way where I can improve and get better. And I think that's really important because once you achieve something, it's not where you stop. Like you still have room to grow, and like we all need to see that we don't stop at a certain point. Like we can always give more and keep going.
Now you've been in some challenging competitions, yeah. And so,
Mhm.
what would I mean? You've been at the state level, so looking at that, what is your viewpoint on like sportsmanship in terms of the sport?
I think sportsmanship's like one of the biggest parts of the sport because if you're not like if you don't have good sportsmanship, it's like it's really evident. And I think it's important to obviously support your teammates, but also other teams as well. And if they don't compete as well as they wanted to, you obviously pick them back up and tell them like it's okay, like you'll train, you'll have this next meet. And I think it's really important to support them in their successes, but also comfort them when they're defeated. And I think that that's one of the biggest things of the sport.
Well, if you're comforting your competitors, I'm just what is your thought on your competitors? I'm curious here. I mean, I know you're a great sport. We do know that much. But I'm just so what are you when you go into a competition, what are you thinking when it comes to your competitors?
Well, during a race, I focus on myself and I don't think about my competitors really. My goal obviously is to beat them, but um yeah, I would say like friends after the competition. So like before you race, you get really focused and dialed in, but then after you can be friendly. So I think that's important.
Yeah,
That's
that's cool.
that's good. You locked in, and then after you walk and celebrate your victories. How do you feel? Participating in sport one. How have you been able to balance being an athlete along with being a student first?
Yeah, so academics definitely comes first, and it is hard sometimes because you know that school should come first, but athletics take up like a lot of your time, and after school you go straight to practice and then you don't get home till late. So the balance is definitely hard, but you have to know that like obviously track is like one of my biggest passions and I want to continue it for as long as I can, but academics will get you furthest in life, and it's really important to like have that mindset because sports won't take you on forever, and you just have to like focus more on your school than sport.
Okay. With your passion for track and field, where do you want to go with it? Where do you want it to take you?
I would love if it took me to the collegiate level, and it would be that would be really that's a big dream of mine. If it took me past that, that'd be even more amazing. But the collegiate level is my main goal for right now, and hopefully I can achieve that.
Well, I would say as a sophomore and you're in the top 10 in the state hurdling, I would say you have a pretty good shot
Yeah,
for,
hopefully.
for it to take you, beyond.
Mhm.
How do you feel track and field has prepared you? Maybe share some areas you're interested in because you do want to transition, compete in college. How do you feel? your experiences as a track and field athlete will influence or transfer to your career path or you as an adult?
I think it creates like a really good mindset for like track and field athletes usually have a really good mindset. And it also like teaches you a good work-life balance and like to have it teaches you to like that you have to have a good like grind or else like I don't know, you won't get out what you want. So I think it's really important to like know that track has given you that like I don't know, it makes you just ready to work and willing to work, and it gives you determination, and that will lead to success. So, yeah.
All right. Now I'm gonna switch gears just a little here. You know we're talking about how far you want track to take you.
Mhm.
Um, how do you throughout you play two sports? So how do you keep yourself healthy throughout both these seasons? Because track is a little bit of a longer season than volleyball. Um, and depending on if you run in the summer, then you even have an even longer track season. So we're talking maybe 6, 7 months. How do you keep yourself healthy?
I try and give myself like a good rest period between track and volleyball. So my coach will usually make me take a 1 to 2 week break with like no exercise. And then I also diet plays a big factor to keep me healthy and stretching. And then also like you can't overwork yourself. So that has been a big part. Like overworking has well, I've been lucky not to have a serious injury, but I've noticed that like overworking can do that to people, and I think that's really important not to overwork yourself, but still stay committed to the sport that you're in.
Okay. Now I'm into the nutrition thing. So tell me
Yes.
about this diet. I just I need
Hey,
a couple
Parker,
things
yes.
couple things about the diet.
In track season, especially when it gets to big meets, I like to balance out like carbs and then iron and red meat. But I also throw in because I love dessert, so I throw in a few of those here and there. But I think it's really important to especially get iron because that fuels you for your race. So I try and do that like the night before, 2 nights prior, and I also get my carbs as well.
That's really
Okay.
great.
Nice. And I only reason I say that for a couple reasons. One, I'm a chiropractor, so I and I do with a lot of deal with a lot of athletes, and most of them I ask about nutrition, and they're like, it's something outlandish. In my world, it's fast food of some sort, and I'm just like, oh, that's so sad. So to hear that you're actually, planning this out, you have a plan for how you approach this, that's refreshing to me. And you're still young in the sport. So yeah.
Or what do you feel you've had to sacrifice for the sport? So you run track and you play volleyball and then you're a student. So have you had to give up anything?
I'd say the biggest thing, well, because like having to do all that, it can become hard to balance. But like that, well, sports and academics, I think, are really important to me. So obviously, academics comes first, but then sports take up majority of my time outside of that. So I think the biggest thing I've had to sacrifice is probably like my social life has had to suffer a little bit because of that. But my friends do know that like track is like a big priority of mine, so they support that. But I will like I'll obviously make time for them too. So like that's a big thing for me because I think it's important to keep those relationships going as you're doing sports as well. And I think that's a big part of life to keep your relationships when you have like a heart when you have a bunch of other things to balance.
Yeah. It sounds like you're balancing everything really well though. Yeah,
Yeah.
kudos to you.
Yeah, you seem like you have this thing together.
Yes.
But when I know in my day, it was my friends came from my sports teams because you really
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have a whole lot. I didn't have
Hmm.
a whole lot of time outside of that. So
Right.
my buddies were on the track team with me. My buddies were on the football team with me, and we hung. And when the football game was over or the track meet was over, we would go to somewhere together, and that was kind of our thing.
Yeah.
Is it? Do you have like a lot of built-in friendships when it comes to the teams you participate in?
Definitely. My best friend, Mary Kate, she's on my track team, and so that's really nice to have her. But then also, both my relays, the 4x1 and 4x4, they were all also my very close friends, and it was really important to have those relationships because we were also close, which I think also helped our race, but that was really important. And then in volleyball, I also have a lot of close friends on the team, so I think a lot of my friendships do come from sports, and that is nice to always have them, but also having some outside is nice as well.
What role have your parents played in in both sports that you compete in, right? But what role or influence have they had? Um,
Yeah, they're my I would say my parents are probably my biggest supporters, and they want me to do what I want to do, and they want like what's best for me, so they'll support my decisions like no matter what I choose to do, and that's really nice to know that like those will be two people that I can always fall back on, and that they'll always have my back, and they help me strive to do my best and reach towards my goals.
All right. Now I'm gonna ask you this. Well, it's a two-part question. One, I want to ask you, um, if you could compete in any other sport. I know you compete in volleyball, but any other sport outside of track, other than volleyball, what would it be? That's the first thing. Second part is, what would you, if anything, would you change about the sport of track and field, particularly in the state you live in?
Okay. I'd say if I can compete in any other sport, probably swimming, because I would say it's pretty similar to track, but just in the water. And also, like, I would say the mindset's pretty similar from track to swim because it's like an individual sport, but also a team sport, and you have to like have your own goals, but also team goals. And like I've been to a few swim meets because some of my friends are on the swim team, and they all get really focused before the race, and then after the race, they're all like congratulating each other. So I feel like I do swimming, and then if I could change anything about track, it'd probably be well, like because it is an individual sport, I feel like the top 27 performers in like each event should participate in the state meet instead of whoever makes it from each sectional, because some people from different sectionals like have like slower times, or some people from like my sectional compared to other times are faster, but the other people make it. So like I think it should be the top 27 in each event instead of people from sectionals that are
I,
different.
li- I like I like I like what you're talking about.
I know. Yeah,
I
you're following right. You almost teed us up for that one, because the whole Top Times podcast is all about the top times, and one of the things we are considering here is putting together a Top Times competition, where it's
Mhm.
the top maybe 24, 25, not 27, but maybe 24, 25. We take those and just put them on the track together and
Mhm.
see how that goes. So
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that you're seeking out the competition, right? You're not shying away from it, which just shows you're up for a challenge and you want to continue to get better. So that
Mhm.
speaks volumes to your character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. Well, Coach, did you have any other questions?
No, if you could share anything with younger athletes that you wish someone would have told you when you first got involved in the sport that you know now. Like if I would have known this, this is what I would have done.
I think just like shoot for the stars because you can really achieve like anything you put your mind to. And I think that's so important to carry a good mindset throughout your whole athletic career. And I think if you like want to achieve something, you obviously have to put in the work. And I mean, that's super important. So never give up on yourself and never give up on your dreams because you can really make it far in your life if you believe.
Well, Reese, we appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Reese,
Yeah.
if people wanted to follow you, what's your social media names and
My Instagram is underscore Reese McKinney, and then I think my TikTok is Reese McKinney 6, and yeah, that's it. And then Twitter, I think, is the same thing, just Reese McKinney. So yeah.
Well, we're on all of those also. We're just in top times.
Okay.
So you follow us, we'll follow you back.
Yes.
Perfect.
And then